Hey there everyone, thanks again for tuning in to Sin's Workshop. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Alright, today we're going to be talking about This Golden Flame by Emily Victoria, published by Inkyard Press. So this is a young adult fantasy novel. It's kind of an epic fantasy. That's how it is categorized as. It's also a novel with a lot of LGBTQ representation, which is probably the best part of the novel. I have mixed feelings about this novel. Not because it was bad or poorly written. I think my problem is I wanted more from it, especially with the fantasy. I just wanted a little bit more. I can't really tell you just something because it didn't really stand out for me as much as I had wished it would. It's 100% original. I definitely haven't read anything like this before. But I wanted it to stand out a little bit more because if I were to buy this novel or if I had received it as a physical art instead of a digital art, this is definitely a novel I would share. I wouldn't have any second thoughts about giving it away. And I'm very, very, very picky with my books. Books I don't care for at all. I just send them to the library. Books I like enough to share with readers, I'll gift them in giveaways. This is a book that I would gift in a giveaway because I liked it, because I really do think that the characterization was pretty much amazing, but it was just the overall story that just was lacking something, like a little bit in it. Now, the story follows Karis and Alex. It goes between their two perspectives. It's very clear early on that Karis is asexual. And I understood that just from, I completely forgot to read the blurb of this story. I kind of skimmed it so that I knew what I was getting myself into. But I definitely forgot that it does say she's asexual. In the blurb. I definitely forgot that, but that's okay because you really do get this very humanistic, very realistic, very grounding interpretation of what it means to be asexual. And I think that has to do with the author. I have to applaud her on this. She is asexual. Emily Victoria is asexual, and I think it's great that she was able to draw on her personal experiences and her personal sexuality in order to give Karis life. And I think that's why I liked Karis so much. And I think that's why I liked the characterization so much, because Karis really did come off as someone you could know. Someone, your brother, your sister, your best friend. This is definitely someone who can be in the real world. It's very easy to relate to her because she's so relatable. She's so realistically written. Her perspective is really top notch. And I loved her narrative because her entire story, and this is the underlying, the catalyst for the story to kind of jump off of, she's trying to reunite with her brother who's taken from her at a young age. And I like the subtle detailing when she's coming across her own Karis, when she's coming across her own sexuality, her own interpretation of what her sexuality means. It happens very early on in the novel, but you don't forget about it. It stays with you as you are reading her journey and as her relationship with the automaton Alex develops, as their friendship develops. You're really seeing what it means to be an asexual individual. And that's what I really do like. Because I don't think we see enough of this group of people represented enough in media. You're definitely seeing a rise. There's definitely a rise. And that's why I like it. I liked this rise. And I really do love Karis. She does a lot of gray things near the end, but you understand her. She's very, like I said, relatable as a character. And Alex is too. And I also do like how when she reunites with her brother, he's gay, at the very least bisexual, but he is in a relationship with another male character. And I loved that because it's just there. There's no explanation. There's no whatever discussing it. It's just what it is. And that's what I think is great about it, because you don't need an explanation. People are who they are. End of story. End of discussion. You don't need an explanation to why they are the way they are. So this is how you know that this author is definitely part of the LGBTQ community, because she's just bringing to life these relationships as they are. She's just giving them the life that they deserve, the representation that they deserve, and that's why I liked the characterization for the most part. My big issue is really with the villain of the story. He's not menacing at all, and he's incredibly forgettable. You can see that, maybe this is why I wasn't able to really like lose myself in the story. You can see he's trying to be menacing. The characters kind of fear him because he has a lot of power and he has no problem enslaving people. He wants to enslave people. He wants to take away their freedom, and that's a scary thought. No one wants their freedom taken from them. I think history has taught us that that is wrong. So I liked what the author was going for. I just don't think she was successful because he's not menacing. He's rather forgettable. I didn't write his name down in my notes. And unfortunately, I no longer have a copy of the book because it was a digital ARC, and those tend to expire. Actually, they do expire. Well, if you don't read them by a certain date, you're SOL. So I can't go back and look up his name, but he was that forgettable that I can't even. I remember Karis. I remember Alex. Man, I wish I remembered the pirate chick. She was cool. But they just kept calling her Captain a lot, so I just remember her as the Captain, which I think is cool. She's like a young, spunky heroine. She's a pirate. But he was just forgettable. I didn't find him scary at all. You could see the author was trying, and I appreciate her attempt. I liked her attempt, and I thought there is a foundation for something really good right there. There's something, it missed the spark. There was just no spark in his villainous. You didn't love him, you didn't hate to love him, you didn't just hate him. You felt indifferent to him. He was that forgettable. I didn't care for him at all. I was just like, okay, whatever. You're just a lunatic who wants world domination. It made him feel very generic. That's what I'm getting at. And that's probably why I didn't enjoy this book to the fullest, because I was all there. I was just like reading. And I probably would have ended up giving this book 4 stars if it weren't for him. I just didn't like it because the pacing's really well done. I do like the seafaring. I do like that they, get involved with pirates who are part of this underground rebellion. It's a nice plot twist. There are some good plot twists in the end. And Karis, again, very relatable. Alex, very relatable. These are 2 very relatable voices that you're reading and following. It was just the villain. I get it. Y'all need to stop the bad guy. We understand it. We get it. I wanted more from that part because there's so much that has happened, and you're building and the story's just building, rising, and then you have this moment, this face to face, and it just felt flat. And that was disheartening for me because this is probably why I wanted more from it, because it was good until that last quarter. I would say that last quarter, I felt like it started to just kind of drop off. It didn't feel rushed. It just kind of felt like it dropped off, mainly because they have to keep going back and forth with the villain. Again, lots of high tension moments in that last quarter, but the villain was boring. He was generic. that's really all I have to say about that, unfortunately. But, you know, I appreciate what the author was doing with the story. And you can see her intent. I just think it needed more flame to it, so to speak. More life. But overall, you know, I did like this Golden Flame. I did like it. I would have to give it 3.5 out of 5 stars, just because it was really good, and then it just, when you meet the villain, because he's not menacing, he's not scary, he's not, you're just like, meh, he's forgettable. Like I said, he's just generic. But, you know, that's my opinion, and I do think this is definitely a novel worth reading solely because of the LGBTQ representation. I mean, the story is amazing itself until that last quarter. The story is adventurous, it's full of magic, it's full of some mystery as Alex is trying to discover what he did 200 years ago. You're on this journey with these characters, but I think we all need to read a little bit more LGBTQ books. So that's why I think it really does need to be read. It really should be read. It deserves to be read, because Emily Victoria, she put her heart in Karis. You can see she put her heart on the page when she was creating Karis. And that is incredibly brave of her to do that, to put herself on the page and bring Karis to life. And I have to applaud that bravery. So once again, this was This Golden Flame by Emily Victoria. I'm going to go ahead and give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. If you're going to purchase the book, please purchase the book from your local bookseller or online book retailer. Please avoid Amazon at all costs. I'm begging you. Support the bookstores. If money's tight, which I get it, please pick up the book from your local library. Once again, it's definitely a book that deserves to be read. And libraries are there for you to read, among other things. But come on, I just use them to read. On that note, I hope you all will continue to support me by liking this video, subscribing to my channel, and sharing this with all your book-loving friends. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and as always, happy reading.